my crafty friends. Today I am sharing a card for a Crafty Meraki design team post. Of course, I made a slimline card and used one of the new dies being released in a release called Meraki Hugs. Awesome release. And one of the die sets I was sent to work with is this Celebrate Slimline Tag. It's designed by Candice Fisher. So there's the large oversized tag, the Celebrate cuts as a single piece, and the additions are Let's and You. So you can have Celebrate You, Let's Celebrate You. And of course, these dies can work independently as well. I have so many ideas for these tags. I'm thrilled with them. And let's show you my card. So of course I made a slimline card. Folded, my card is 3.5 by 8.5 inches, and it's also a trifold card. So I did combine several other sets. The Love and Hugs is from the Valentine set, which was released last week. And the Wishing You Happiness, as well as the lovely Cherry Blossom, was in the Year of the Ox, which was also released last week. So you can use these stamps together, and it's lots of fun to combine different items from different releases. So to get my Celebrate, I just took a piece of regular white cardstock, blending brushes, and inked dye ink on the white panel. So it was just slightly bigger than the Celebrate. And then I spritzed it with water and let it dry. And the dye ink kind of ran with the water. So this is not distress oxides, this is not distress ink, this is no special ink at all. You can do this with any dye ink, and most of what I do is with just regular dye inks. And I wanted to show you how well the dye inks work for a blended effect. I was actually really pleased. It's kind of blotchy because I didn't use a special blending cardstock. It was kind of splotchy until I spritzed it with water, and yeah, when it all dried and it was smooth, I was really happy with it. If I was doing this again, I would do it on a larger panel, cut out the Celebrate, save the little interior sections, then you can use that on a second project using the negative, but my piece of white cardstock was too small for me to do that with. Black tag here, some ribbon and baker's twine. Now, this was also done with dye inks, and I'm going to do a quick tutorial for you and show you how I did that. And I watercolored the brushes and the background by using a water brush and just simply smooshing a dye ink onto my glass mat or my waffle flower mini media mat, spritzing that with water and picking up the color with a water brush. A little bit of stickles in the flower centers because, gotta have some sparkle on a birthday card or a Celebrate card. The Wishing You was stamped on just a small scrap of the ink blended paper from this area here. There was just enough for that, and I popped it up with a little bit of foam tape. I was able to stamp the multicolored happiness with the help of my Misty. Love and Hugs was stamped in black, and I colored the inside just really quickly with a white gel pen. So for my Slimline Trifold, I've been making these since June, and every time I post one on social media, people really like it. They're so easy to make, and you can still use just a single letter-sized sheet of cardstock. So your measurements start with a piece of cardstock that is 8.5 by 8.5 inches. Score on the left side at 2 inches, on the right side at 3 inches, and that's it. That is your trifold card. Now I do them a number of different ways as far as folding goes. This one has the 2-inch side on the left and the larger one on the right, but you can easily do them the other way around with the larger one here and the smaller one. And you know what? It's fun to play with. Choose different ways to use the same basic fold. My slimline card does fit in a number 10 business envelope for mailing. And let me just show you how I did the background panels. This is my waffle flower mini media mat. I think that's what it's called. I went to the Mesa Rubber Stamp Convention last year, and my friend Kelly Booth came with me, and she said that she uses hers constantly. So I thought I would try one, and I do really like it. And when you put your cardstock on, the cardstock doesn't move. It holds it in place. So that's kind of a nice feature. But you know what? You can use a glass mat. You can use release sheet. You can use any kind of a non-stick mat for this technique. I have my dye inks. In this case, I am using Catherine Pooler inks, and I absolutely love these, but any dye inks will work. So this is what I mean. You just smoosh it onto your surface. I am using the distress sprayer, but any spray bottle works. And then you spray it with water. Now I use just a piece of stamp packaging. So you can see that's the bottom flap. I always open mine at the top because then I can use these to store cards in while they're in my craft room before I send them out. So I have all kinds of these left over from stamp packaging, and I just pick up the color and dab it on. You can add more water if you want to pick up more, but that is the look you get there. Now I do have a little cloth here. I'm just going to quickly wipe it up. I'm not too worried about ink bleeding because the colors will go together. Another quick smoosh with ink, a spritz with water. That one looks like it needs another spritz. There we go. And I'm going to turn this over. Now the cardstock I'm using for this sample is a basil cardstock. It's textured, and I had a partial sheet sitting on my stamping table, and so that is what I used for these panels. And I wanted to use the same kind of cardstock to show you that there's no magic tricks at all. Well, other than ink smooshing, which to me is fairly magical. Now another option is to take your cardstock to the ink puddles, and you can do that, and I did that for a very long time, but I kind of like the look of the plastic that you pick up. Now I'm going to spritz that a little bit more. You can add more color. I am going to wipe this up so I don't drop my finished card into any ink puddles, because I can make a mess of things real quick. And there is just a pretty ink smooshed background that you can set aside to dry. You could probably hit it with a heat tool and speed up the drying process. I prefer to let it air dry and see how the colors mix and blend. If you enjoyed my card and tutorial today, please give my video a thumbs up and subscribe to see more. And that's it for me today.